welcome to my channel. So I'm on my way right now to Sarasota. I gotta make a payment. I've made several videos sometimes when I'm on my way to Sarasota, when I'm back on my way to Tampa, because I have to make a car payment each month and they do not accept online payments. You literally have to come in person. So I have to drive from where I currently stay about an hour and a half once a month to pay this loan. But I took out a loan on this car when my car was already paid off because I was in a financial situation where I needed to pay my rent. And I was like, I don't really want to try to borrow any money from anyone. And I had already borrowed money from some people when I'm usually the one that actually help people out. So I'm like, what can I do for myself before I can actually ask someone else for help? Well, what I realized is that I got a repeated pattern of stewarding my money properly. And I'm not going to say stewarding my money properly. Somehow this cycle of debt keeps coming up. I keep paying things off. I mean, all the way down. I'm talking about paying off like $80,000, $90,000 worth of debt. Be scot-free. And then I'm back in the same cycle. No longer living paycheck to paycheck. But all of a sudden, I'll get a lump sum of money. I'll pay off my debt, thinking I'm doing the right thing by giving to others. But somehow, I keep getting into this cycle of debt. And so, I just recently went, and I post videos, but I just recently went to Mexico. And I realized that I'm in that same cycle. I'm 49 years old. And like I say, I come on here and I share. I just be vulnerable. I know a lot of people won't do that, but I do because I already see that I will eventually get out of this cycle because I'm recognizing it now. And it wasn't just me recognizing it, but me and my daughter this time recognized the cycle. And there's a cycle that a lot of my family members are struggling with as well. So I was like, dang, a lot of the lessons and a lot of the generational patterns or curses, it's like, I feel like me and my daughter was assigned to break a lot of those patterns, a lot of those bad behaviors, a lot of those curses, as some people would call them. And it's so tiring, it's so exhausted because you work so hard, I work so hard, and I'm like, why is it just about every paycheck I'm down to like zero, but I get paid decently? And you know why? Because I'm in so much debt. And sometimes I get in those debt situations when I don't want to ask others for help because I don't like owing people. And the people that I actually owed, I owed my friend during the time that I actually put a loan on this car. That's when my money had just ran out. I was probably 3 or 4 months in from all the money running out. And my friend, my best friend, he ended up giving me like $3,200. I had never, this was my second time in my life in like 20 years that we've known each other. And I think we've known each other more than 20 years. My daughter is 27. So we've known each other before, we've known each other before my daughter was born. So I think I've known him for like 28 years. This was like my second time ever asking him for money. And I had never asked him for this much money. Got money from my kid's father. I even borrowed money from my daughter. And then, who else did I owe? I think those were the three. My daughter, my kid's father. Yeah, those were the three. And my daughter's grandmother let me not pay her like the first half month that I had moved in. So to me, I was like, I owe her 2, so I had to pay off 4 people. I paid that off. I paid all that debt off, which I got into around July of 2024. By March, I believe, I think like March 7th, I believe, was the last payment I had made. So from July to March, it took me to pay that debt off. Thankfully, I was still doing Uber on the side, which I don't do Uber as much anymore. I barely do Uber, but I actually, got back in corporate America, and I was using the money from now consistent money to finally pay off debt. And I can't look at the camera as much because I'm driving. But I was thinking to myself, I'm posting these videos on success. Hey y'all, certain little messages or lessons that I received in life. And I'm like, God can't move me to the next level, because he's like, Sharina, you gotta find a way to stay out of debt. You gotta find a way to steward your money properly, which I've talked about before, but also learning how to manage your money. So y'all, that's just something that I'm struggling with, in addition to, I want to eventually lose weight. That's something that I've struggled with. But I didn't realize how bad it was until this is a week ago. Today was my daughter's birthday, August 9th, and we were in Mexico. We came back August 10th. And the trip, it was a nice trip, right? It was we were able to get funding for that trip. And I wanted to go back and have her experience what I experienced in October of 2021. Well, in October of 2021 is when I first had the opportunity, when I first got a taste of making more than 5 figures a month. So I went from making, $3,000 a month, like net profit for my job, to now I became a mortgage loan officer, which was sales. It was the hardest job I ever had, but it was so rewarding. It was so rewarding because I was pushing past a lot of the fears that I was facing with rejection, because when you're dealing with sales, you're going to be dealing with people telling you no all the time, and that was so hard for me. Oh, it was so hard for me to deal with people telling me no, right? But I had quit my job at Chase Bank. I was working for Chase Bank for 9 years. I had quit my job there, and I didn't have anything in savings, and I was riding on this job. And so when I started this job, now I also became familiar with Make Real Estate Real. This is with Jamal King, and Eric Thomas from Secrets to Success podcast. I don't know if y'all know Eric Thomas, E.T. the hip hop preacher. I came to know Jamal King through him, from being online and watching their podcast. And I had already been pursuing real estate investment since I was 19. Even though I didn't own it, it was just something that was always in my heart that I always knew I was going to do. So when I started getting more money, I was like, oh, I could afford to pay for his course. His course was like $1,900. I got it for $997, I believe, or $999. And then I joined a part of what they call the alumni. So this is the alumni group where we meet on the phone once a week. I'm no longer a part of the alumni. I think it's like $99 a month to maintain the membership, or you can pay like $1,000 a year. But at the time that I was working my first high paying job where you can, I had started getting like around $10,000 a month, $10,000 to $13,000 a month, is when I went to Hotel Xcaret RT. And I went there for a conference, and it was our first family reunion. They had called it our family reunion because it was like, a family. And he was like, hey, if I throw this, event, will y'all come? We were like, absolutely. Now, I hadn't gotten the money yet, right? I hadn't received the money yet, but I knew in my heart, because it was something that I had in my heart since I was 19, I said, Lord, this is a sign. I know I'm supposed to go with E.T., Jamal, CJ, and E.T. wasn't even guaranteed to come. But it was Jamal's event, but because E.T. stamped him, I was like, I can be a part of this organization. I was like, I need to go learn properly this program because I had already been scammed out of $12,000. Me and my business partner in 2016, it was me and two other friends of mine. We ended up having a real estate investment company. One of them dropped out, but the two of us, we ended up staying, and we ended up going to this conference where they talked us into paying them $12,000 because they was going to show us the ropes of how to invest in real estate. And it was supposed to be the financial part, the financial piece. We was like, we only need to learn the financial piece. We know how to go out, look for properties, fixer-uppers, because our thing was fixer-uppers, right? Which is still fixer-uppers. And fix and flip. You can also buy and hold the property and rent it out, but our thing was really to fix and flip properties. And they were like, okay, it's going to be $12,000, but we saw them taking people in, different little breakout rooms, but it was in person versus being on Zoom, where they had us at this hotel, and you can hear people, but if you want the next level, that's going to be $30,000 and $40,000. So anywho, Jamal wasn't charging that. His course, matter of fact, I never had to go to Make Real Estate Real Family Reunion ever. I didn't have to pay at all if I didn't want to, because his course taught you everything you need to know. But for me, I was in the season of self-development, and I was like, you know what? I wanna be around others, and I feel like being around the environment will help me. So when I invested into myself, I actually paid, I think the whole trip was, I always say $10,000. I don't think it was $10,000. I know I had to pay about $5,000 probably for the ticket, and I would say probably about $7,000, $7,000 to $8,000. But I paid that money out of my profit from me working. And so I was like, okay, I'm investing in myself. I'm gaining the knowledge that I need, because eventually I will get properties, and then I'll have passive income. And so the experience, though, was so nice, is the point that I was trying to make, that it was October of 2021. I only wanted to go by myself, though, because I was already so stressed out. My daughter was staying with me. She was an adult still at that time. She's 27. I think she probably was, about 4 or 5 years ago, she probably was like 22 years old. 22, 23. And I was like, you know what? Nah, I just want to go by myself. And the experience that I had, I wanted to recreate that, because I had such a great time. I went by myself, and I'm an introvert at heart. But I'm now becoming more, more outspoken and things like that. But at the time, I just was like in a corner. And so Jamal King and his team, like his attorney who actually got him, his friend, Damon, and Damon's wife, Coach Carter, who's in Chicago, him and his wife, and it was one other couple. They were like, you're gonna come with us. So they had me hang out with them. It's like, no, you're not gonna be by yourself. I'm like, oh. So it was just so nice for them to like just take me under their little wings. And then I end up meeting 2 other young ladies there. One of them became my tax accountant. She does my taxes. That's something else that I gotta, get caught up on. I'm behind on filing because I end up becoming, self-employed. And I was just like, it wasn't too much of a profit made at all. Matter of fact, it was really no profit made. So, yeah, I met some really great people, and it was a wonderful experience. So fast forward, I wanted my daughter to experience that. So, I was telling her all about the experience, and I was like, we should go. We should go for your birthday. And then, it was like, well, we don't have the money. But I was like, every time we want to go on vacation, somehow we end up getting the money. The only difference this go around was we got the money, but it was a loan, right? So now we got to pay this back. But in my mind, the way that we looked at it, not in my mind, but we were like, you know what? We just split the payment. We can pay this back. I never, ever, ever had to pay a loan for any vacation. So that was a big red flag. But we were like, we thought it was a great idea because we're supposed to get, this wonderful experience. And now she get to experience some of the things that I experienced. But we both realized that just because it might be a great opportunity does not mean that you're supposed to do the opportunity at that time. So that was the lesson. We went. For me, the property has grown to look more like a jungle, and actually they built the hotel in the middle of a jungle. But when I went there, I didn't realize July of 2021 is when they opened that new hotel. They already had one other one, which was Hotel Mexico, was already there. Hotel Xcaret Mexico. This was Hotel Xcaret RT, which focuses more on art. And so I went October of 2021. So everything it was beautiful land. The landscaping was low, meaning the brushes and the shrubs were like low level. And I was like, okay, fantastic. I get back, I can't even recognize the back part of the hotel. The front part looks the same, but the back part, I'm like, this looked different. And I found myself complaining within about 5 minutes of us getting to our room. I said, Lord, I'm so sorry. I said, but I'm not a person who like nature like that. I didn't realize that was their whole plan, was to get us to have a great experience, but really almost like in the middle of the jungle, to where they can have wildlife and stuff there. That there was these little things, and I forgot the name. I don't know the name of them, but they got like the long tails that curve up like a darn monkey. And they're like a mix between, look like an anteater and a raccoon and a monkey, a little small monkey, and they run on the property. When I tell you, that freaked me out, because also it reminds you of like a rat too. I was so annoyed, and I was like, this is not what I experienced. So it was a great experience, because we had a great experience with the spa. The staff was, very nice and accommodating. We had like a leak in our room at the top of the closet the first night we were there. The very next day, they upgraded our room to a walkout pool room, which was really nice. So it was great to take my daughter to Mexico, and this was her first year spending her birthday in Mexico, and her birthday was nice. Now that spa experience that we had was nice. The spa experience was free. They gave us a free 2.5 hour, 2 hour and 20-minute spa, which was amazing experience. So she really enjoyed her birthday. But my point is, don't continue to make the same choices and decisions that keep you buried And whatever that thing is, for me, it's debt. And I've been experiencing debt since I was 19 because I ended up getting into a car contract because my car ended up getting into an accident. And I was 19. My aunt and uncle would not co-sign for me a loan through my credit union, Suncoast Credit Union, which would have made my payments no more than $200 a month, which was so reasonable. And so they were like, no, they didn't feel comfortable doing that. Now, as an adult, I get it. I totally understand. At the time, I just was like, I don't get it. I pay my bills. I'm responsible. I stay out of trouble. Why won't they co-sign for me? I'm like, I just did not get it. But, you know, it's a huge responsibility now that I realize that if you co-sign for anything, you are also responsible for that debt if the person, the actual borrower, who's number one on the primary borrower on that loan, defaults. So as I got older, I'm like, okay, but I always equated me starting this debt journey because my aunt and uncle said no to me. But that wasn't it. It's just, even me making the decision to get into that car loan was my decision. I could have done other things. I could have been more patient. I felt like, you know, maybe they wasn't being as patient with me when it came to like picking me up, because I know they were like, I think my aunt was getting kind of frustrated, but that was just my own perspective. I could have won another month or two and saved up some money to buy a cash car, and I didn't. I decided to get in a car loan, which put me further in debt. So I ended up moving out, not to get my first place, not too long after me getting a car. And so that added to my stress. So I'm going into my first apartment with a payment of like $300, and I think it was like $14. I remember that specifically. I think it was like $314, and now you got rent. My rent was like $425. So it's not that bad, but when you getting paid, I don't even think I was getting paid $10 an hour. I don't know how I ended up. I was going to school full time. I was working a full-time job, and I had a part-time job. That's how I met my best friend. My best friend is a guy, and I met him, you know, we were working at the airport, and I fell asleep a couple of times standing up. That's how tired I was. But we just don't realize sometimes we don't break these habits early, it's going to continue to follow you. So that was when I was 19. I'm now 49. It's 30 years. 30 years of continuing to make the same mistake over and over and over again, of just getting myself in so much debt. So I'm already healed from this. Everything that I need within myself and outwardly, whether that might be a course, whatever it might be, something on ChatGPT, I'm going to make sure going forward that I break this generational curse that's on my family, because as long as I'm indebted to someone else, I won't be able to go to the next level. I won't be able to have a peace of mind. I won't be able to get the passive income that I need. I won't be able to help others like I want to. I will not be able to live my best life, which is the whole point of this channel. But also the whole point of this channel is recognizing areas of your life, areas of opportunity in your life that need to be changed. So I take full accountability. It's nobody else's fault but mine. Can't nobody stop you but you. So I'm going to do better. I told my daughter, I said, until the IRS until I actually file my taxes, until I pay off these loans that I have, and until I actually pay off my debt, it's a no for a lot of things. I do have an upcoming cruise in December for my birthday. After that, it's pretty much, it's a done deal. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So until I get things together, and it's already together, but I'm just saying, and I'm speaking positively over my life. Is already done, and I know a lot of the things that I go through is for others as well, and to help us all to do better. So have a great day. I know this was like a long video. I don't even know if anybody made it to the end, but just wanted to share that epiphany that me and my daughter had. And I told her, because we were talking and we were just really like brainstorming, and we were like, what is it that we can do better? And I told her, I said, you know, because she was across the room from me, I said, you're 27, I'm 49. I'm like, if you don't break the habit of what I'm doing, because a lot of our life have been like a little, it has been almost about the same. We'll be going through the same thing almost at the same time. I said, if she don't stop the habits that I'm doing, if I don't stop the habits that I'm doing, she's gonna be me at 49. So I'm like, no, let's do this now. So she was like, Mommy, this is something I'll never do again. And she's more responsible than, how can I say it? She's more of a thinker. She's not as impulsive as I am when it comes to certain things. I don't feel like that was impulse. I just don't feel like it was the best decision, because it wasn't impulsive. It was like a matter of months for us to make that decision, and when we did, it's something that we could have waited on, right? We could have, because the other alternative was to go to Universal Studios. We were gonna go like to the new park. They got a park, I think it's called Epic Park. We were just gonna go to Orlando, get a hotel for a few days, and yeah, that was the original plan. And baby, it would have been way less than the amount of money that we paid. Okay, so lesson learned. Still gonna live, still gonna travel, but it will be more responsibly, right? So, all right, have a great day. I'm almost to my destination anyways. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I always just like to say, hey, I don't know what you might be going through. Maybe you're not going through anything, but it's going to be okay. Everything is going to work out, even if it feels like you're going through a lot. 1 second at a time, one step at a time, just 1 second at a time. And I don't know if you have kids. I don't know if you feel like you don't have the opportunity to have a moment to yourself, but find somewhere where you can have a moment to yourself, where they might be in the closet. You go into the closet of your house, where they might be in the bathroom. Getting yourself some headphones, some earbuds to just kind of tune stuff out. There, if you look on the YouTube videos, because I got another channel where I haven't made a video on that channel in probably about over a year, but there are channels that help you with sound, and it relaxes you. So you can go in there, you can listen to the ocean, you can listen to thunderstorms, birds, jazz, whatever it might be. It might help you just like calm down. I do read my Bible in the morning. I read it from off my phone. I have a few verses. I read Psalms 23, Psalms 27, Psalms 121 helps me. And sometimes just gratitude, moments of gratitude, positive affirmation helps as well. And if that doesn't work, sometimes just doing some exercise. If you see a few of my videos where I'm exercising, but then I'm making fun, that actually relaxes me as well. It makes me feel good to dance. And so I want to do more of those dance videos, but that's a whole nother topic. But I'll talk to you soon.